And the JaJas this morning will be singing a song called Be Deliberate that Barbara wrote many years ago. One of our first songs, I think. We need your help with a snap. A little piano. Deliberate with what you think, be deliberate with what you do, be deliberate with what you think, because what you think is gonna come back to you. Be deliberate with what you think, be deliberate with what you do, be deliberate with what you think, because what you think is gonna come back to you.
I got a tape playing in my head. Sometimes I know it, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I like what it says, but sometimes I don't. So I find a little peace and I go inside. I say a little prayer and I ask God to guide me. This is what he says.
Be deliberate with what you think. Be deliberate with what you do. Be deliberate with what you think, because what you think is gonna come back to you.
I write down all my wishes and dreams, and then I add a little faith. Make a move every chance I get. Yes, love in action is the way. God has provided for my every need, freely, fully, and abundantly. And this is what she says.
Be deliberate
in what I think.
Be deliberate
in what I do,
be deliberate
in what I think,
because what you think is gonna come back to you. Get rid of clutter in your life, in your home and in your mind. Create a vacuum in your life. You'll be amazed at what you'll find.
I think I got it. I get it. Let's try it one more time. Be deliberate
in what you think.
Be deliberate
in what you do.
Be deliberate
in what you think, because what you think is gonna come back to
be deliberate
in what you think.
Be deliberate
in what you do.
Be deliberate
What you think, because what you think is gonna come back to you. So we'd like to know if there are any newcomers in the audience this morning, and I do think we have someone, maybe not brand new, but would you mind introducing yourselves this morning?
I'm Lori Schaefer and I live in Sunbird.
And so we'd like to welcome you with our welcoming statement this morning. We all say together, we love you, we bless you, and we welcome you. Thank you for coming this morning, all of you. And now, we would like to sing happy birthday to anyone who has got a birthday coming up in January. Do we have any January birthdays? Maria, what date?
Yes, the 10th.
The 10th, awesome. And Lori, you have one?
28th.
The 28th of January. Wonderful. We have people to sing to today.
Yes.
So we'll sing the words Happy Birthday that were adapted by Joel Baer. And they're on the screen, so. Happy birthday to you. There's no one like you, uniquely created. I love knowing you. I bless you with life and abundance galore. God bless you, my loved ones, and have many more. And our opening prayer this morning will be by Reverend Maria Blanding.
Wow, with all this exuberance this morning, isn't it wonderful? So as we go into prayer this morning, let's just continue to feel that absolute wonderful high that is God. That high that surrounds us and fills us every single moment of the day. How wonderful it is to face that new year in all the excitement and the love that it brings to each and every one of us. So maybe the first thing we should do as we remember a little bit about the last year is to take this time to just let go of those things that no longer serve us. Those things that maybe have held us back this year. So we know right now that they are gone and we are releasing them. And just now focusing on this wonderful new year. We know that we are inside us dwells this unlimited potential. And as we begin to focus on that and to come more from that spiritual side of us instead of the human, we know that everything that we desire to create in our lives is possible for us. And so we look forward with great joy for this wonderful new year and all its infinite possibilities. And so it is.
And our daily word this morning will be by Ellen Engel.
Good morning. Good morning. Okay, Sunday, January 2nd, 2022. Isn't that exciting? Time spent communing with God gives me clarity. When I gaze toward the heavens on a moonlit night, I expect to see twinkling stars and constellations. But if I use a telescope, I can see details with much greater clarity. This example could describe my spiritual life as well. I may go about my day mindful of my blissful feelings and kinship with all the people. These things and more are the fruits of my faith. But I find clarity during times of intentional contemplation. When I meditate upon the truth, I feel the presence of God fills my consciousness and touches my heart. This clarity informs my thoughts, words, and actions, brings my faith to vivid life. For now, we see in a mirror dimly, but then we will see face to face. Now I know only in part. Then I will know fully, even as I have been fully known. 1 Corinthians 13:12.
Beautiful. And now we will have another song with Barbara to prepare us for our meditation, and then Tony Corrigan will come up and do the meditation this morning. So this morning we are going to be setting our intention for the new year. And I chose this song that Barbara wrote with Charles Fillmore in mind about unity. And I chose it because I thought it was a good way to envision our church, our goals this year as well. Okay?
Somehow I think he knew that his ministry would grow. But even with his gifts, it's hard to think that he could know the giving ways, the loving hearts, the visions that would come from within these very walls, like the rays of the sun. Who could have known?
Who could have known?
Who could have seen?
Who could have seen?
Who could have dreamed the wildest of dreams of a bond that we would sing, of a fellowship with wings, maybe late in bed at night, embraced with all his heart, he sent this dream and spoke the words, and so it is. Wisdom still rings true, though years have passed on by. Through the power of his heart, his very words have come alive. Alive in conscious giving and the love that we all share, and fueling the fires of all the dreams we share. Who could have known?
Who could have known?
Who could have seen?
Who could have seen?
Who could have dreamed the wildest of dreams of a bond that we would sing, of a fellowship with wings, maybe late in bed at night, embraced with all his heart, he sent this dream and spoke the words, creating, inspiring, empowering, inviting, enlightening, and loving, enlivening this moment right now. Who could have known?
Who could have known?
Who could have seen?
Who could have seen?
Who could have dreamed the wildest of dreams of a bond that we would sing, of a fellowship with wings, maybe late in bed at night, embraced with all his heart, he sent this dream and spoke the words. Say it with us right here. Here we go. And so it is.
Meditation.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And I
I knew I was doing the meditation today. So I would like to introduce our meditation today with a little poem by Lowell Fillmore, the son of Charles and Myrtle, who was responsible for the design of most of the buildings at Unity Village, a tremendously amazing person. And this is called The Answer. When for a purpose I have prayed and prayed and prayed until my words seemed worn and arduous, bare with arduous use, I had knocked and asked and knocked and asked again, and all my fervor and persistence brought no hope. I paused to give my weary brain a rest and ceased my anxious human cry. And in that still moment, after self had tried and failed, there came a glorious vision of God's power. And lo, my prayer was answered in that hour. So I was so happy to hear Barbara's song of the dream of unity. So I invite you just to close your eyes, relax, feel that chair supporting you. And with each breath, know that you're breathing in that holy, divine presence within. And in that presence is a total knowing. A knowing of what we need at this moment in time. A knowing of the next step. As we enter the new year, sometimes our minds get overactive. And we have plans and we have visions and we have the way it's going to go. But as Lowell writes, pause, breathe, listen. The presence and power of God within us is divine intelligence, along with all of the other beautiful faculties that are part of the nature of the divine. Listen. Release the anxiety of the brain, of the mind, going around and around. Become very quiet. And know that in that living, loving presence is exactly what you need at this moment in time. So I'm open and receptive in whatever way that guidance comes. And I am excited. I am eager to hear, to feel that nudge, to know that I am always being guided to my highest good. So in that knowing, in that quiet pause, as I recognize an idea that may come from unexpected places, as I feel that assurance deep within, that yes, knowing that God is guiding me, directing me always. And in that listening, in that knowing, my soul is filled with gratitude. I am so grateful for the Spirit within me guiding me and directing me. And so I listen. I listen in gratitude. And so it is. And so it is. Amen.
So at the top of the year, I thought it would be fun to go through the 5 unity principles. We haven't discussed them for quite some time. And so the first unity principle is God is all good and active in everything and everywhere. The second one, I am naturally good because God's divinity is in me and in everyone. Human beings have a spark of divinity within them, that Christ Spirit. And their very essence is of God, and therefore they are inherently good. Number 3, I create my experience by what I choose to think and feel, what I feel and what I believe. Human beings create their experiences by the activity of their thinking. Everything in the manifest realm has its beginning in thought. Number 4, through affirmative prayer and meditation, I connect with God and bring out good in my life. Prayer is creating thinking that heightens the connection with the God mind and therefore brings forth wisdom, healing, prosperity, and everything good. And the last one, I do and I give my best by living the truth that I know. I make a difference. Knowing and understanding the laws of life, also called truth, are not enough. We must also live the truth that we know, and that is through our actions. And so now we'll have one more song before we begin our lesson that Barbara also wrote called A Time for New Beginnings. Very appropriate for this time of year.
Open wide as we share and laugh and cry. We take our lessons learned, count our blessings earned. It's time to let go of any fears that may have bound us through the years. Release any pretense and just be here with friends. It's a time for new beginnings. There's no other place to be. Touching souls with hearts of love, one spiritual family. There's no other way that you have to be, except just the way you are. It's a time for new beginnings, to say I love the oneness of us all. Together, hand in hand, united we will stand and build our dreams and live our lives, make our dreams come true. We can make a difference together, me and you. It's a time for new beginnings. There's no other place to be. Touching souls with hearts of love, one spiritual family. There's no other way that you have to be, except just the way you are. It's a time for new beginnings, to say I love you from the heart. In gratitude for every path that brought us here this day, what the future holds, in knowingness we play. All that matters here and now within this very room is the love that spans the universe. The sun, the stars, the moon. It's a time for new beginnings. There's no other place to be. Touching souls with hearts of love, one spiritual family. There's no other place that you have to be, except just the way you are. It's a time for new beginnings, to say I love you from the heart. I love you, I love you, I love you. Thank you. Today is the first day of the rest of your life. And as the scripture tells us in Psalm 118, verse 24, this is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. This day, today, we have an opportunity to begin anew. Of course, we have that opportunity at any moment. But when the calendar changes to a new year, we tend to think about this idea more consciously. I know I have been. I want to be very clear that what we're not going to do today. I'm not going to talk about the self-assessment that usually occurs at this time of year. You know, when we review the past and we look at what worked last year and what we could improve on. We decide what changes to make in the new year. And if we're serious about the process, we may come up with a to-do list, which we affectionately call a New Year's resolution.
what often happens is that we begin with good intentions, but we fall short on the follow-through, so that by the end of the month, we simply give up and drift back to that comfortable rut of past experience. Have you ever heard that saying, "May your troubles last as long as your New Year's resolution"? Often with New Year's resolutions, we attempt to change behavior without changing the consciousness that produced it. It doesn't have to be that way. What is called for is an actual change of belief, especially what we believe about ourselves. If we have adopted the world's view that we are individual beings, separate from our source and separate from each other, then that is the consciousness that we have to change. That's where unity comes in. At the heart of our teaching is the message of oneness. There is one God, one mind, and each of us is an aspect of that one. Far from being separated from God, we actually are expressions of God. We may be ignorant of the fact, but our ignorance does not change the reality of our being. At any moment in time, we can wake up to the truth of who we are. This is the message of all the great mystics. For instance, when the Buddha was asked, "Who are you?" his reply was, "I am awake." This is the essence of what Jesus was getting at when he said, "We must be born again." They were talking about the same process, and the good news is that when we change our belief about who we are, we really do change what we do with our lives. So this morning, our work is to look at what our design for living this year shall be. How do you intend for God to use you, through you, as you, in you, in 2022? In other words, what is your intention for your life this year? Not what do you plan to do this year, but what is your intention? We will look at that this morning. And in addition to that, we're going to look at this question. In what atmosphere and energy do you want this intention to express itself in? So that's what we're going to explore today. But first, I want to spend a few minutes looking at The Power of Intention, one of my favorite books Dr. Wayne Dyer wrote. Intention is a force that exists in the universe as a field of energy. There is a power for good in the universe, and we can use it. The truth is, we all begin with the same raw material. It is what we do with it that matters. For instance, a plain bar of iron is worth about $5. The same bar of iron made into horseshoes is worth $10.50. If made into needles, it becomes worth $3,285. And if it's turned into balance springs for watches, or any of a million other things, springs for watches is worth $250,000. Doesn't that just blow your mind? So I want you to think about this question. What is God's idea for that bar of iron that is your life? Is it horseshoes, needles, or springs for watches, or any other of a million other things between? We can also think about it for this church. What is that intention? You really do get to decide. Science is proving that over and over as metaphysics and physics come closer and closer together. There was recently an article published in a scientific journal. The article was entitled, "How the Power of Intention Alters Matter." Scientific proof that human intention raises local symmetry in the substratum of space. The article discussed a series of experiments by a Dr. William A. Tiller that pretty clearly show that human consciousness changes space. Dr. Tiller's experiments began by imprinting electrical devices with a specific intention. The imprinting was done by 4 experienced meditators, people who Tiller said were highly inner self-managed. Then this device, imprinted with the intent, was wrapped in aluminum and sent by overnight shipping to a laboratory 2,000 miles away, where it was placed inside the target experiment and turned on. So for example, one electrical device was imprinted with the idea of raising the pH level of water. When the device was turned on in the vicinity of a jar of water, the expectation was that the pH of the water would be raised. They were looking for at least a full pH unit of the difference, something large enough that the results could not be attributed to faulty measurement. It's possible to measure 1/100th or even 1/1000th of a degree of change in pH. So 1 full unit is a lot. And they were, in fact, able to achieve an unambiguous change in the water's pH state simply through its being in the vicinity of an electrical device that had been imprinted with the intent. And they were able to raise the pH in this way by as much as 1.5 full units. A very large amount. But it was when the experiment was repeated over and over that the really significant events began to show. For Tiller has found and proved that when intent is repeated in the same space, eventually it becomes permanent. And when that happens, the laws of physics in that space no longer operate as they did before. For a meaningful analogy, you can remember when it was impossible for a man to run a 4-minute mile. But once that barrier was broken, it became the norm. When they kept running the same experiment over and over again, Tiller said the laboratory began to become conditioned so that the same result would happen more and more quickly. And eventually it would happen even after the device was no longer in the room. In one of the spaces they used, the alteration in the space of the room has remained stable for well over a year. And it's still going strong. In comparison, today, if you can't run a 4-minute mile, they will not let you on the track team. Author George Leonard, Field of Human Potential, said, ultimately, human intentionality is the most powerful evolutionary force on the planet. This morning we are going to harness that power for ourselves as we set an intention and a theme for our lives. So what do I mean by an intention and a theme? Well, first, the intention. What is the broad intention for your life? By intention, we are looking at the what of life. By broad intention, I mean the broad what, such as I intend to go deeper and higher in spirit. I intend to see God in everything. I intend to live from a place of real, unconditional love. I intend to express God's abundance in all areas of my life. I intend to experience an awakening of consciousnse. I intend to live for my divine purpose. I intend to unconditionally share my gifts and talents with the world. Now, what do we mean by theme? Theme is the how. But be very clear here, not the how as in the details of how this is going to work out. No, that is God's job. But rather the how as in what atmosphere or energy do you desire to live this intention. For example, I intend to go deeper and higher in spirit while living, moving, and having my being in joy. The theme for the year is joy. The intention for the year is to go deeper and higher in spirit. I intend to be an ambassador of God as I experience unshakable faith and confidence. The theme for the year is faith and confidence. The intention is to be an ambassador, a stand for God. I intend to see God in everything in an atmosphere of profound peace. Theme, profound peace. Intention, seeing God in everything. I intend to live from a place of real, unconditional love as I experience harmonious relationships. Harmonious relationships is that theme. Intention is to live from real love. I intend to express God's abundance in all areas of my life with ease and grace. Theme, ease and grace, one of my favorites. Intention, expressing God's abundance. So you get the picture? So in a moment, we'll do a process, an internal process, for tapping into your intention and theme for 2022. But first, an important word. There's something very important that you must do once you set your intention and theme. And you all know what that is, I think. Because it's part of our unity, 5-step unity prayer. At the end, what do? We release it. We let it go. An idea dropped into the subconscious is like a letter dropped into the mailbox. If you remember what a mailbox is. Just know that the message was delivered. And your result is on the way. After you have set your intention and your theme, we just release it to God. When you mail a letter, you must let it go so it can be delivered to where it is going. After dropping the letter in the mailbox, do you stand there and make sure that no one tampers with it? Watch to see that the letter carrier tucks it away safely? Do you follow him or her back to the post office? Tail the letter through the storing process? Insist on sitting next to the mail sack while it is being flown across the country? You follow it through its next sorting? And finally, do you make sure that the addressee picks it up? Sit there waiting for a thank you card? So at some point, and we hope early on in the process, you must just let go and trust that the Postal Service does its job. And to breathe down the neck of a Postal Service worker would only annoy them and waste your energy. The same is true here. Set your intention and then release it so that God can take care of you in ways that you could not take care of yourself. So now we're going to take a moment. If you all didn't pick up a piece of paper on your way in for setting your intention and theme, anyone need one? Thank you, Julia. So some of those things that I read, you may have liked them, you might want to tag on to them. On the back, there's a place at the bottom where it says, I intend to, and then we will put our theme and our intention down. So we're just going to do a little bit of visioning once everybody gets set.
Make sure that right.
So let's take a moment now, close our eyes, see ourselves with a big blackboard in front of us, and it's empty, which means that it's full of potentiality, all possibilities. And as you look at that screen, you can see and pull down the things that you love doing. You can see them on the screen. You can see you healthy and laughing or feeling on purpose, doing that thing that you do so well. And you can see the theme of joy or peace, happiness, love. Having that theme running through your intention. And so through all of those possibilities, I ask you today to focus on one and put it down on your paper. And also put your theme down. And so we release our intention and our theme to the universal law to be made manifest in our hearts and in our lives this year. And so it is. Still have some people writing. And now we'll say our affirmation together. This is the day the Lord has made. I now rejoice and am glad. Thank you, God. So I recommend that you put this intention and theme all around your place, your house, for a constant reminder. And try to think of ways that you can re-presence it, like use your calendar and put it on your calendar at the beginning of every month or at the beginning of every week, so that we keep it present for us and keep it real.
What if you really like two of them? What if there's two of them you really like?
You can put 2 of them down.
Two of them,
You can. Yeah. All right, so now it is time for us to do our offering. Many of us tithe online, but for those who would like to tithe here today, we will take our gifts in our mind or in our heart as we say our offering blessing together. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. I am so blessed. Thank you, God. And now we will sing Karen Drucker's song, I Am So Blessed. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful, I am so blessed, I am so blessed. I am so blessed, I am so grateful for all that I am. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful, I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I give. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. And now we will say our offering of gratitude together. We give thanks for these many blessings of today, and know they are but a symbol of the inexhaustible substance of the universe. I give thanks that 10 times as much is now on its way to me and quickly manifests in perfect ways. Thank you, God. And now for our community affirmation, let's say this together as well as we vision for our church. We open our hearts to embrace all those who enter our church. We send our love to all who do not know about our community and who have a desire to awaken their spiritual nature. We know that as they become aware of our presence, they find a way to be here with us, to awaken, learn, grow, and share their gifts joyously with us. And now for our announcements today. Today is Matthew's Crossing, so we will have a collection box over by the door that Ellen Engel will take to Matthew's Crossing. Today we're having our class after service on the back table for H. Emily Katie's Lessons in Truth discussion. We're talking about the third lesson with Tony Corrigan leading that.
I want to say that our whole focus, your focus was really on our thinking and that is the 3rd chapter in Lessons in Truth. So even if you haven't been coming in the past, you're welcome.
Yeah, all are welcome. Even if you haven't read it, it's good stuff. And then we have our sign-up sheets in the back. Please sign up for all sorts of, you can read the daily word, you can do meditations, you can be, for our prayer partners, we didn't have any prayer partners signed up, so today Julia Norton's going to do it after, if you'll meet her in the back, if you would like personal prayer. Our Reiki meeting is every Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. at the Cottonwood Clubhouse, room A2. And Betty and Mike are part of that group if you're interested in learning more about that. Prayer meeting led by Julia Norton every Wednesday at 10 a.m. And then our musicians for next week are Craig Haley and Peterson. And finally, I want to thank Mark, as always, for setting up, for just being there. And we want to really, Mark's beautiful wife is looking at surgery Tuesday, is that correct? So we send her lots of love and lots of light. And thank you for being here, even though you have so much going on in your life. Just can't thank you enough. And for Julia coming early, Mike coming early to set up, I really appreciate you guys. Anyone wants to stay afterwards and help us put things away? Because all of this has to go back in that back closet before we go home. So anyone that can help is really greatly appreciated. Anything else? Kate has an announcement.
Well, in case you haven't heard about it, some of you may know about a group called the Improvables. They do improv theater, and we have a show coming up on February 5th. It is a dinner and a show, so there'll be a pasta bar and salad and dessert. It's at Sun Lakes Country Club over at Phase 1. It starts at 5:30 for the dinner. The show is at 6:30. And ticket sales are starting tomorrow through Friday, January 28th. There's 4x4 flyers for you over on the sign-up desk or table. And I'd encourage you to come watch me make a fool of myself yet again. The tickets are $25 and it includes the dinner and the show.
And do you have to be residents of Sun Lakes?
No, anybody's welcome to come.
Betty, do you have any announcements? Well, yes?
I just wanted to say that we are working on going to the MIM sometime during the month of January. Some people have vacations, and so we're trying to work around that, so there'll be more specific information shortly. What's your email?
What is it, Betty?
The music museum.
Musical Instrument Museum.
Musical
Instrument Museum.
It's fabulous.
Yeah, I want to go. It's really
Any other announcements?
It's like amazing.
Not, then let's stand and we'll sing our peace song together and close with the prayer for protection.
Okay.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. God bless you all. Wonderful week and happy New Year.